There are a few subjects that we've broached over the last month or so, and he's just been like, "Nah, man, I really can't not do this. I'm not with this at all."
I understand though, Gabe. I do understand, and I felt your pain as I was listening to that part.
I kept trying to slide it away, and then it kept coming back, and I'm like, okay, Swoboda.
Who you throw under the bus. We're now live. I'm going Gabe style and just bringing it live.
Wow.
I see how you are.
That's not really it. We're gonna pause and then we're gonna go really live.
Check it.
Really live.
Kind of live.
Everyone ready? Everyone feeling good?
Are we actually sharing this
Say what?
live? That is not after the fact.
You can if you really want to, but I wasn't going to.
Perfect.
Yeah. Not super flex. Nothing special. Normal PPR. Keep it easy. Cool. Here we go. Welcome to the Dynasty Dummies podcast, where we're just a couple of dummies talk about Dynasty Fantasy Football. I'm your host, Kyle LeBrecq.
And I'm your co-host, Zach Reed.
And we're the dummies. And we have a special show here tonight. We've changed it all up. We are not in the studio. We're hanging out on the Google Hangouts. We got a whole group of people in here, and we're going to do our annual. Sometimes we do it a couple times a year, but we're going to call it our annual mock draft episode. We have quite the group, but I am going to start out by introducing Mr. J. Mike Check, who is going to introduce everyone else for me because I am likely to mess up some Twitter handles or some names or something. And J. Mike is just, well, we don't get him on here enough to begin with. So it's just wonderful to have him here with us. He's just so good at introducing everybody. So take it away, J. Mike.
I'm just humbled to be here. This is going to be a fantastic event. I'm excited to see where we all land with some of these. I'm excited to continue the tradition where we trash Kevin's picks and where we just really get into the nitty gritty of rookie season. We've had time to digest, to really internalize what we've seen, to listen to some feedback, some analysis. And now we get to put our feet to the treadmill, if you will, and work it out. So starting far left on my view, the better half of the open bar, my main man, you know him as the pod intro king himself, at FF Man Bun, Gabe Gearing. What's cracking?
This is the Dynasty Dummies feeling kind of funny because it's not the open bar. Hey, co-host. Hey, everyone. This is great. This is unique. This is different. I think I don't have very long to talk because it's not my show, so I'll just pass it on to the next person. Happy to be here.
Does it feel a little bit like an open bar episode? Just a little bit?
It does. Very much
okay,
so.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, it feels like it's going to be a bit more mayhem, though. I won't say names, but
home sweet home. Gotta love it. Moving on. The 1/3 or 1/2, depending upon how you feel about Stephen Marcus. We've got the man from the Fantasy Football Fun House, Mr. Kevin Cotillo, at Kevin Cotillo on Twitter. What is good, sir?
What's going on, man? So I find it odd. I mean, it's great that you mentioned the Funhouse because I carry that show. There's really no one else on it. But I find it odd that considering we're on the Dummies podcast, you failed to mention Wall Street, which Riley Bymaster, who's an honorary dummy, is actually on.
We try not to admit to that when we don't have to.
I would take no credit for Riley either, and I accidentally just did. So I guess it's cool. What's up, guys? I'm happy to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am looking forward to getting my picks made fun of all over again.
Speaking of Dynasty Wall Street, donning a Dynasty Wall Street t-shirt, the man from South Carolina who's just loving life, doing things incredibly well. You know him on Twitter as at Fat Mormon, switch the F, switch the M, Matt Foreman. What's cracking?
What's up, J-Mike?
You tell me. I asked the questions here, sir.
Well, it was 85 degrees here and sunny out, so I was living the dream. Walked 3 miles at the beach yesterday on a Tuesday, so can't complain.
You know what? Low key, I hope you get stung by a jellyfish. Moving on. My main man from the Midwest, Mr. Robbie Jeffries from Dynasty Happy Hour, among other places, at Robbie Jeffries on Twitter. Robbie, what's good, my man?
Doing really good. Happy to be driving with the dummies for the first time. So going to be maybe not an honorary dummy, but a full dummy at that. So we're ready to get things rolling.
Very well then. Very well then. Last but not least, myself, J Mike. How you feeling, J Mike? Well, it's been a pretty good day. Wonderful to be here with the dummies. Wonderful to be here with all of you guys. I'm just excited to get it going. And I won't hold us up any longer, J Mike. So just go ahead and take it back and pass it over to Kyle like you're supposed to. Kyle, whenever you're ready, let's get this show on the road.
Oh man, I knew that I was handing that off into the right hands. That was even better than I could have imagined.
That's a professional right there.
That is a professional host.
Not everyone can have a conversation with themselves.
This is true. And I got to be watching over my shoulder because I really do think he just needs to take my seat here. But anyways, let's move us to a draft. Let's talk about some rookies and do this thing. We probably should talk about, before we kick this off here, we don't do Superflex. And we don't do IDP, and we don't do any of that silliness. So this is standard PPR draft, pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. So none of those fancy Superflex picks, guys. I'm watching you. All right, we picked the order before we kicked off this recording, and Gabe is going to lead us off with the 101. Then we're going to go to Kevin, Robbie, Zach, Matt, and J Mike. And I'm going to try to keep you guys in order and moving along at a okay pace. So let's do it. Gabe, who are you taking at 101?
Man, super flex, more like stupid flex. Jeez, why would we ever draft a quarterback 101? Oh, I want to do it. I want to do it to make the world so mad. What is Kyler Murray, like 8th overall QB at this point? No, I can't do it. It's your boy Nikhil. I've been riding him for a while. Just love the game. I like the landing spot still. I think the Patriots are being very sneaky behind the scenes, are going to somehow land themselves in a position to have a quarterback over in one of the next 2 years. I don't think it's Stidham, Jarrett Stidham. Yeah. It's not him, but I think they're building a nice little offense for the next guy to take over, and very, very few flaws in dude's game. So Nikhil.
All right, I'm going to stop us there because we have some background noise. Anyone else hearing it?
Yeah, I heard it.
I don't
I thought
anymore.
Kevin flushed
Just
the
one
toilet
away.
or something.
I did not flush the toilet. Sorry
I
about
think
that.
that might be me. Roommate might be showering. That's the life that you live in college. So I can keep
All
it
right.
muted, but for my
Yeah,
pick, it might be
just
going.
just mute it when you're not talking.
Okay.
We'll make it work. All right, I'm just notating my timings here so I know where to fix it. That's how you
Man, that's
cut down
funny.
your editing time right there, my man.
That's good.
Do you want me to start over?
No, because yeah, we probably should.
I'm the
I
worst.
didn't write down that time, but yeah, let's just roll it back a little bit. I'll just set you up and I'll fix it. I'm gonna
Sure.
yeah, we'll blend
Oh
this together.
man, you're gonna edit tonight?
I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna edit
This
because I
is
feel like
exci-
you were a little distracted there, Gabe. You were hearing it, weren't you?
I wanted to say something real bad. I really wanted to call out Kevin.
I'm the worst.
We,
Fun
Robbie, don't
fact,
feel
you
bad.
can
The
always
problem
do
is
that.
we all thought it was Kevin, and so we were all just sitting here like trying to find out how we were gonna call out Kevin.
You guys don't even know. This isn't like a desk chair. I just put this back on the toilet. So, literally, like, I'm shitting right now.
All right, here we go.
I need that as my ringtone.
I'm kidding right now.
You-
I need to sample that for my next.
All right, Gabe, who are you going to take at 101?
Sorry, you have to ask me one more time. I was about to say super flex, more like stupid.
That's what you said the first time.
I know. Ask me one
Bad
more
once, worse the second time.
time. Yep.
All right, Gabe, who are you going to take at 101?
There's only one 101 in the 2019 NFL rookie draft. His name is Nikhil. Don't get it switched up and say Keneal like I've done like 2 years ago. I made that mistake once, never again. I respect the name. I respect the landing spot. I think the Patriots are really sneaky. I think that there's going to be a QB drafted there in the next couple years, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing. Nikhil all day. It's a tier in itself. Y'all can have fun. Thanks for having me on. Deuces.
You have at least 3 more picks. Don't go anywhere. But that is the right pick.
Ugh.
And congratulations on winning this draft. You really should be able to just walk away after making that pick because you have made the correct pick at 101. Let's take it over to Kevin. Who are you going to take here at 102?
Hey, Gabe, you want to trade me N'Keal Harry? I'll give you a third round 2020 and the 102.
This is how you trade into 2020, J Mike.
Taking notes as we speak.
The value's there.
All right, you know what? Let's take that moment. Let's kill our timing here. And we've had all this talk about trading into 2020, and the question was asked before we hit record. How do you trade into 2020? How high do you have to get in the draft? And anyone can answer here. How high in this draft do you have to get to trade away your random 2020 pick from for next year?
Top 6. Gotta be. I mean, this draft gets really thin very quick for me.
Yeah, I
Top
agree.
6. Anyone going higher?
I might push it to 4 or 5. Honestly, I just because I don't know. I mean, I just don't think you're getting. I mean, I'm a little anti, or not anti. I shouldn't say this. I'm a little down on 2020 compared to what I think most people are still. And still, there's not enough here. It's really more about here than anything else. I think that there's going to be changes to the 2020 class, and it's not going to be as great as everyone thinks it is. But for me, there's just the landing spots here were so terrible that there's nothing worth it to me. I think 101 and 102 are solid picks, and then from there, if it's not super flex, it starts to get dicey real quick. So, there's a couple more players that I might want, but I think it's got to be up there for me.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of the trend these days.
Can I ask the question then? When we're talking about the fact of giving up this year's pick, so basically not gaining any value for your team this season, in hopes that I'm increasing my chances to make a hit in the following seasons for a team, I guess that's in the middle, if you will, if you're talking about this kind of draft, or you're one of the teams that's not very good if you're picking this early. So say you get to that 105 and you're on the outside of the playoffs looking in. how can you justify or how can you feel great about the fact that I'm giving up a top 5 to 6 pick in this year's draft to not have my team be any better for this coming up season by passing on what feels to be a premium pick in a draft, even though, yes, for next year you're increasing your odds, but what happens if you're trading 106 this year for 112? Yes, 2020 is fantastic. We know that they're the Avengers and they're amazing and they take care of all of the world's ills. I get that. I just don't understand in my mind, again, as one of the younger dynasty players in the group, how we justify this look for your team going into this season.
You know, J-Mac, I think that's a great question at a philosophical, every year kind of question, kind of sense of, in a normal draft, there's a lot of that discount baked in that you're going to that next year. You're not improving your team at all this year, and by pushing that out, you typically get a nice little discount on that, and you're getting a first plus. So you're getting more on that side. But this year has been so crazy, and I don't. Even a couple of years ago, we had a couple of rougher drafts, and I don't remember them being nearly this tough to trade out of. So it is a very interesting thing that we're running into, where I think there's so much of an echo chamber right now of trade to 2020 in the dynasty community that it's built a wall of that you can't get there without paying more than you should be, because you're not getting anything out of it this year.
Because at this point, you're taxing me to get into the lottery for next year, which I just don't love. I don't love how that feels. But go ahead, sorry, Kevin.
No, J-Mac, think of it this way, right? Your terrible team that's picking at 104, you're giving up, this year, but then you're going to probably have that 104 or better next year because you're not helping your team. So at least you're going to have a good pick in 2022, plus the extra first.
That is true.
You've done that.
Looking at it the wrong way. Now give me all your picks.
We've all been doing dynasty the wrong way.
The other thing, and I don't play in very many Devy leagues, and the ones I do are like kind of modified Devy. They're John Bosch leagues or leagues where you're making like maybe one pick and you don't even have to make a Devy pick. But this is where keeping your ear to Devy podcasts and Devy content actually gives you an advantage, because what I end up trying to do is look ahead. So I was advocating trading into 2020 maybe 2 years ago, because or a year ago, because you see that, and you could have traded into the second round in 2019 and the first round in 2020 with nobody being any the wiser, because nobody was really talking about the 2020 class outside of Devy. And so that's what I'll do, is I'll kind of try to identify a class that I like, and I'll make trades with either picks or players to acquire seconds in the draft before, and then firsts in that draft that I'm really targeting. And you can knock over your mic. You can do that kind of under the radar.
I'm going to be editing like crazy.
I just love that you're having to do so much work tonight. Yeah.
Passionate about that one.
So Malachi Dupree, Equinemius St. Brown, and Kelvin Harmon all say hi. That's my argument to this whole trading into the future thing, based off of Devy. And I guess I just say that to be a little contrarian here, of as I get ready to bring us back on track, because otherwise we're going to spend the next hour just debating this, and we're not going to actually do a mock. But just the counter, I guess, and something to consider as I throw this back to Kevin and I say, give me your 102.
Wait, so I can't make that trade then?
You can't make that trade. It's a mock. There's no trading. You have to give me a pick.
All right. So I think it's pretty easy. Josh Jacobs is the pick for me. I mean, out of all of the rookies coming in or getting drafted this year, he's the only other one on my board that got a good landing spot. I don't see any real competition for him. He's going to get touches. He's got draft capital. He's on a team that who knows if they're going to be successful offensively, but they're at least going to give him the volume because they have to. And he's got a skill set that we think will translate into the NFL as a 3-down premier rusher, right? So he's got the best opportunity of anyone left on the board. So it's an easy pick for me, Josh Jacobs at 102.
Yeah, that seems to be. We seem to have gone pretty chalk for the first two picks here. It seems like there's a tier. I know some people have Jacobs at 101. I think Zach, I believe you have him at 101, or at least you did as of last week.
I do. Just philosophically, I do.
Yeah, which is understandable. I look at N'Keal Harry as, I think, a little safer because I did have a few questions about Josh Jacobs coming in pre-draft, and great landing spot, like you said, but I think there's a couple questions to be had there. So, I think you have a tier there. I think there's a couple other players that are close, though. I'll be interested to see if they go here next. And so really, I'm going to put the pressure on you, Robbie, to see if you take the right player at 103.
I don't know if I'm going to take the right player. We have been pretty chalk, and in the drafts and the mocks that I've seen and been a part of, I've seen this player fall to that 108, 107, a little bit lower, but he's definitely in the top 3 for me, kind of right below that tier you were just talking about, and that's David Montgomery. I know that he's part of the trio of backs with Sanders and Jacobs that go pretty early, but he seems to be the one that's not quite as liked by most drafters. And what I like about him is what most people have seen if they've watched his tape, is that his yards after contact, his balance, his ability to just make even a bad offensive line and take that and still produce was just something different at Iowa State. And being able to see him in person was something that just it showed that he can just take things, and it doesn't matter if he has a room or a lane to run, he's going to get some yards. And then you couple that with the fact that he can catch. He had about 71 receptions in his 3 years at Iowa State. And I think you guys talk about it all the time on the dummies, that 20 catches in a season benchmark. He's hit that multiple times. So when you factor that in, and then we talk about all these bad landing spots, I think Chicago's a good landing spot. Matt Nagy has a good offense. His quarterback is someone who's growing, maybe won't, totally propel him, but also someone who won't limit him, I think, and they're going to lean on the runs. So him with Mixon and Tariq Cohen and Mike Davis, who I don't think are huge threats, I think he can get the bulk of the work there. I definitely think he's worth a look here at 103, so that's what I'm going with.
Well, I have to say congratulations. You did pick the right player. So well done. David Montgomery, I think I truly believe is the locked in 103 in a non-super flex. But I know that there's a lot of discussion out there. The part that really blows me away is primarily the 3 seems to be either David Montgomery or Miles Sanders. I know there's a couple other players that have been there for some people, but it seems to be between those 2. And I think it's interesting. Zach and I we discussed last week on the show that we are not very happy with the Philadelphia landing spot, but there's a lot of people that look at the Chicago landing spot as a very bad spot because of Tariq Cohen. And I just myself, I don't see Tariq Cohen as that big threat to keep David Montgomery down. I said it last week. I view Tariq Cohen as a special part of the playbook kind of guy. He's got his own little section in that playbook, and those are great explosive plays and very useful for a team. And they're going to give you some fantasy points. Don't get me wrong. But David Montgomery is going to walk in there and really truly be, I believe, a 3-down back. with Mike Davis in a rotation to give him. I mean, look, no one's doing it completely by themselves. Everyone needs a little bit of help. But after Harry, after Jacobs, I think David Montgomery really is the best option to walk into a true starting role, and he rated pretty highly for us based off of talent pre-draft as well.
Yeah, I don't think you have to squint very hard to see 240, 250 carries and 30 to 40 catches for Montgomery.
Yeah, absolutely. J-Mike's having a hard time squinting.
Well,
No,
I mean, Jordan Howard had 250 carries and 20 catches last year.
No. And that's not the part I dispute at all. It's that Mike Davis is pesky.
Yeah,
He's pesky.
He did really take over that Seattle offense.
No.
Year.
No. It's not even about him taking over. It's just a matter of, if we're talking about him getting 250 carries, that means Mike Davis is getting like 25. And I don't know. I don't know. I like David Montgomery. I think it's fantastic. And yes, Kyle, this is the right pick per se. In your communist world that you've got, I'm just curious how Mike Davis, the guy that they just paid for in the offseason, plays into the plans of Chicago. That's all. That's just my question that I have regarding the backfield.
I think it is a legitimate question, but I also do think we need to look at it as Mike Davis is a very good backup. He was a great dynasty story. And I think this is where we get a little stuck on things sometimes. The guys out there who have Mike Davis on their dynasty roster, they stashed him away, and he got signed in free agency to a okay contract. They won in free agency, and nobody wants to lose what they won. You know, they don't want to lose that value that they gained there. Now that David Montgomery's walked in there, he's been drafted. I think we need to do a mental reevaluation there. Of they've said that they're investing in that running back position, and I know it happens to me with other players. Not in this case with Mike Davis, but with other players where I'll have a player, they'll go somewhere in free agency, or they'll get drafted to a nice spot, or whatever happens. Someone moves on, and now all of a sudden they're walking into that starting role, and you mentally kind of you win there. And anything that happens, you don't want to take that loss afterwards. So it's something to consider.
So, but to J Mike's point, we always do this in the dynasty world. We talk about draft capital on the regular basis, right? Draft capital is huge. It's something that we use in our evaluation process. Why don't we use monetary value of a contract as well? I mean, it's something that I think frequently gets ignored. And I'm not saying Mike Davis has a huge contract, but they did pay him money. And what was Montgomery? I mean, what third round pick?
He was the third running back off the board.
So I understand that, right? But a third round pick and whatever they're paying, Davis, a couple $1 million. I mean, at the end of the day, they can pretty much get out from either of them pretty easily. Is kind of my point, right? And I think you got to follow the money in the NFL as well as the draft capital. It's just something else to consider that I think frequently gets ignored. Now, I love Montgomery, just so you know. I'm not arguing with you on this pick at all. I think he's a very talented guy. I feel like we frequently ignore this, and I just wanted to point it out.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and I think there are situations where we need to really watch the money. But I also think we need to keep in consideration an average contract versus a higher end contract, and then put it in the same kind of scale of the third rookie running back taken off the board. In that scheme of things, yes, Mike Davis will probably be making more money this season than David Montgomery.
The Bears don't care that he was the third running back off the board, though. They don't care which running back number he is.
But that is an investment.
They care that it was a third round pick for sure. But they don't care that he was the third.
It was their first first pick, though. They didn't have a first or a second. So if you think about it, it was their first pick of the draft, and
Now
they
that's-
traded up to get that. I think that changes that
100%.
storyline a little
Now,
bit.
those facts are definitely more important, and that's a great point. I'm just saying, they don't care what number running back he was.
Yeah, I mean, what running back was Mike Davis off the board? I figured he'd be in a more decent draft class than this one, and I don't have that in front of me, but I'm sure that he was if I remember, like, was he a third round pick or was it fourth, fifth, something like that? I mean, in that draft class, he was a little disrespected too, I suppose. If we're comparing kind of drafts, like maybe they're even the same running back in terms of draft capital.
He was a 4th round pick.
Yeah. There you go.
All I know is I'm really glad you took Montgomery because I'm going to shake things up at 4. I'm not going chalk. I know everybody wants the running back to go. I know everybody wants that to happen. It's Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell is 4. Paris Campbell is in Indianapolis. Andrew Luck is healthy. Andrew Luck is going to throw over 600 times. I'm here for it. I'm here for a weapon. I am here for a receiver who can work close to the field and stretch things horizontally while T.Y. Hilton stretches things vertically. It's just going to open everything up, and that's my 104.
I just have to mention that Mike Davis was the 12th running back taken that year. But going to pick 4, Zach,
Even more so.
congratulations. You have also taken the correct pick there. I love that. I love how we're just going by my board so far, and I'm not even drafting. That makes me happy. And I think it's driving J Mike a little crazy.
Just a little.
You know what, J Mike? In 2 picks, you're going to have an opportunity to shake things up, but I'm going to keep us rolling around. I know there's probably a bunch of people that want to argue this Paris thing, but we just spent far too long on Mike Davis. So, Matt, take us to pick number 5, please.
I mean, if anybody follows me on Twitter, knows anything about me, you should probably know I'm taking Miles Sanders here. I mean, he's my 103, so I'm in that community. Yes, I went to Penn State, so I have that going for me. But I think that Sanders offers some things that Montgomery doesn't from overall athletic standpoint. Obviously, we saw it with speed. I think that Sanders played behind a similar offensive line at Penn State than Montgomery did at Iowa State. Now, yes, Iowa State's offensive line is probably a little worse than Penn State's, but I really like Sanders' game. He was stuck behind one of the best running backs we've seen in the last decade in Barkley, but I just think I think that the concerns of the Eagles are a little overblown because I've heard Zach and Kyle talk about that in DMs with them, and they're worried about that Doug Peterson hasn't given the carries because of what happens with Jay Ajayi, what's happened with Ryan Matthews under Peterson's reign in Philadelphia, but that's not something I'm super worried about because they haven't invested this kind of capital in a player like Sanders in Peterson's coaching history in Philly. So I think those things are something to consider. But as Kevin said earlier, this draft capital here was second running back off the board in the middle of the second round. So I'm very comfortable taking Miles Sanders at 105.
I get the arguments, and I'm hearing a lot of it out there, so I absolutely understand. I do think I should mention that we've continued the trend. He is my 5th ranked rookie thus far, and you have picked him at the correct spot. I know you wanted to pick him a little bit higher, but I guess it really worked out that you had the 5th pick.
Oh, as soon as Robbie took Montgomery at 103, I knew I had Sanders at 5 because I knew Zach wasn't taking him.
So everybody that listens to this show knew that Zach was taking Paris. That sounds about right. I had a moment where I thought he might take his other binky, but he did. He got Paris.
Yeah, I think his other binky went to a bad landing spot, so I was deciding to there as well.
We'll get there.
So I think we may see his name pop up here in a little bit.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll get there very soon. J Mike, I know you were just chomping at the bit to come in here and tell us who you think should have gone off the board already, and how even though this has gone to my rankings and it's just gone perfectly so far, how it's been wrong.
Full disclosure, I'm in one league that is one quarterback, and it just so happens to be with many of the gentlemen in here now, including one Kyle LeBrecht. Now, I'll say this. This is not currently tied in premium that we're drafting in. This is not anything special. It's your one QB, PPR, 12 team. Let's get it. Now, there's an old saying, there's nothing new under the sun. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm actually going to throw out a bet, not to you guys per se, but I want to push my chips in on something because I like this player a lot. And I think the offense bounces back sooner than we think. Give me A.J. Brown, wide receiver, Tennessee Titans. I think he's as good with the ball in hand in terms of being a savvy run after catch gentleman as well as anyone else is in this draft. And obviously, I'm not the one to try to go forward and tell you all the reasons of why he's fantastic. He proved it on the field. Obviously, the draft capital is there. And all of a sudden, if you look up in Tennessee, nice little bit of weapons there for Mariota. If he can feel his hands, take a strong hand, feel his hands, get the rock to the people who are actually really talented on that team. I'm excited for what A.J. Brown could be in that offense. And I'm buying into Tennessee because everyone else hates them now. I actually want to get in on some of that on the low.
J-Mike, I got to tell you, I don't hate it. You took him one pick too early, but I'm okay with that.
I like it a lot, Jay Mike. I think you're absolutely right. And Mariota's on that 5th-year option. So
Yep.
it's put up or shut up for him. And so you're either going to see Mariota resurrect his career or A.J. Brown catching balls from somebody else next year. So either way, that's a win.
Did you see how he welcomed Nashville at the beginning of the NFL draft? Put up or shut up. That dude is already in shut up mode. He gone.
I don't know what you're referring to, but that makes me laugh.
He said like 10 words to the city of Nashville that like is, putting all of their chips on him.
Yeah,
And
I
he's, like,
get a feeling.
completely-
I get a feeling we probably don't see him in the future plans there in Tennessee, which is probably for the best for the pass catching options there. I love the player. I hate the landing spot. I do agree though that I think there's a bright future possible in that landing spot. I'm hoping that if you have this, if you're taking this guy, that you're in a situation of you won and you managed to acquire this pick, and you don't need to rely on him this upcoming season. Because I think whoever takes A.J. Brown in your league, you kind of need to plan on not getting a lot out of him this season. I don't think you're going to be getting a walk-in starting on your roster type of player, but I do think that there is a great future potential with him. So a nice building block. Interestingly enough, he is going 5th in DLF rookie ADP. So he is actually going higher than we've taken him here by one additional pick. So kind of holding his value there a little bit more than I thought he would. Gabe,
It sounds like the people have spoken against your board is what that is. Kyle. I'm just throwing that out there real quick.
the people aren't always right. I hate to tell you. But more than likely I'm wrong, because that's what usually happens. Gabe, we're going to circle back around to you for pick number 7. You won this draft by taking N'Keal Harry at 1.
Mhm.
What can you do here at 7 to top that?
I can't lose, can I? Well, we were discussing that this is about the range where you have to sell for the 2020, right?
Yeah.
You
2020
cannot
Harry?
trade out.
Okay. Can I trade with Kevin? He was talking trades with me earlier.
I give you the 108 and Josh Jacobs for
For N'Keal.
for N'Keal and your 2020 second.
My 20. Now I see how you get into 2020. All right.
Tell us how you really feel, Gabe.
I don't know why I came on the show tonight. No idea what I'm doing. I just, all right. I can't even do it. I still can't even do it. I'm still going to go with TJ Hawkinson, the Hawkaburger, the Hawkaburger Deluxe with fries on the side, baby. I know people are not super pumped about the landing spot, but the dude's going to be on the field a lot. It's just, he's good at what he does in the passing game, but he's extremely good at what he does in the blocking game. So that's important to me as far as drafting tight ends early. I don't put a lot of capital in doing that, but I just kind of don't really want to draft any of these other guys right now. So I'm trying to make the case, and I don't know. Maybe it was a fluke with Ebron. Maybe it was just not in the right offense and clicked with the coaching staff and things, but I'm willing to swing on the Hawkaburger. So, get me out of here.
I feel all of your pain right now, Gabe. This is an area in my rankings as I'm putting them together, and they're still not even complete because I hit this range.
Yeah.
And all of the noises you just made, I did that many times over. I've looked at this range over and over and again, and I can't get all the way through it feeling comfortable. I have a very loose order going through here. So I understand. Zach and I have discussed this at length. We have a little bit of a stand against taking tight ends in the first, but it does seem like both of these guys are gonna go here in the first round in most rookie drafts. And the running theme is when Hawkinson goes off the board, someone else goes shortly after. So let's see what Kevin does here with pick number 8.
I hate this range so much. It's not even funny. I'm with you guys because I cannot stand taking tight ends early, and Fant should be the pick here because I think he's the most likely to produce out of the group of players that I think I could take here. I'm not going to take him just because of the tight end thing. I think you can get tight ends later or wait a year for them when people get tired of waiting for them, or 2 years for them when people get tired of waiting for them and pick them up then. And there's so many other options unless you're getting an absolute dominating stud at tight end. And I don't think any of these guys are Kelsey or Ertz or even Kittle. So I'm going to pass and take a dart throw on one of these wide receivers that's here. I hate it. I don't know which one I hate the least at this pick. So for me, I guess I'm going to take an absolute shot at Metcalf. I'm not a big Metcalf guy, but I will tell you, I mean, he's as good a shot as any as being a stud, right? I mean, he could absolutely flop, but he could also be an amazing player. So, I have no idea, but at 108 in this draft, I think I got to take that shot.
Well, to this point, you have the value pick from my board because I have him going a couple spots before this. So I really like that pick. I think the landing spot is very interesting. And I was not super high on DK pre-draft. Sorry, Jake. As the slide happened and continued, I became less and less high on him. And when he finally went to Seattle, and it's just a perfect fit for him because Russ can run around and let him get downfield, and that connection could be a beautiful thing between those two. So I really like this. I'm happy you got him there.
On the plus side, I have Tyler Lockett on every single one of my rosters, so one of them's got to work out for me.
There you go. One way or the other, you will win. Robbie, who are you going to take here at 109?
Well, I'm sad that Metcalf went off the board right before me. So unlike most of you guys, I actually love this range because Metcalf is normally the one that falls. And anybody who's been in leagues with me knows that I'm a big fan of him, almost on the same level as one Jake Anderson. So unfortunately, not in this. So I will go with someone who had a lot of the same ability as Metcalf. Maybe doesn't have that ceiling, and that's why I wanted Metcalf. But Deebo Samuel would be the pick here. He goes to a really high-powered offense, I think, when Jimmy G is healthy. He's someone that in the auctions and drafts that I've seen, he goes right around where Paris Campbell goes. And I put out a poll, and they were neck and neck. I think I had 600 votes, and they were 48%, and people struggle to pick which one should go first. And so I think he possesses a lot of good ability inside and outside. And in that landing spot, I think he can quickly take over that top wide receiver role in that Shanahan offense.
I'm really glad your audio cut out there for a second, but you came back to full clarity right about the time that you said Deebo Samuel and all of the information after that, and I'm really glad you came back there. I love that pick. I do think that there's some interesting upside there with him, and the more and more I've thought about it, I know draft night I was still kind of leaning Dante. I've got him neck and neck, and I think one way or the other, take a shot at one of these two guys, whether it's Dante Pettis or Deebo Samuel, and there's a ton of upside with either one of those guys. One of the two of them should grasp that role, and could be a huge win for you. Zach, take us to 10.
You can't make me take a tight end. I won't do it. I'm going to go and attach myself to the best quarterback in this class and take Andy Isabella, because I think Kyler Murray moves the pocket so well. And Andy Isabella, although people are trying to paint him as a slot receiver, he is not. He is not a slot receiver. He is more than that. He is really an outside receiver, and he's going to work very well with the skill set of Kyler Murray and very well in that new spread offense that they're going to run down in Arizona. So that's going to be my pick.
I love it. And I love the points that you talk about him being on the outside. We've been talking about that for quite a while. And I think it's important to remember when we talk about the entire composition of Arizona, and Christian Kirk, I don't think is going anywhere. I think he's still going to be a part of that offense. And now there's talk of the 4 wide, which, okay, so Kirk might be the other inside guy with Fitz, as long as Fitz is around, and Andy on the outside, and then maybe you've got Hakeem Butler as the other outside guy. I think that's the position that's really up for grabs, is the other outside. Could be a really interesting offense to watch, and Isabella could be a massive weapon for Kyler. Much like I just said, DK could be for Russell Wilson.
Yes, they have similar playing styles.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, are you going to stop the slide of Noah Fant? Is he going to go in the first round here, or is he going to slide out?
I sure am not, only because I don't think Fant sees a lot of. Yes, I think that he was a first-round draft pick. I just think that you can probably buy Fant for 80 cents on the dollar year 2, because I watched his game, and I think he's going to struggle to stay on the field year 1 because of his blocking technique. Plus, I own Jake Butt in a ton of leagues, so I'm really holding out hope on my Jake Butt shares here. So I'm going to let the Noah Fant slide continue. If it was tight end premium, I definitely think that I would be considering here. But
Man, I got to stop you there. As a fellow butt lover.
Phrasing.
Wait, what podcast am I on right now?
You got the pole behind you. You're all good.
As someone who has a lot of butt stashed and is really hoping for that breakout, we might have to take a hard look and realize that the future's probably in Fant.
what is dead may never die.
I feel like you're not really hearing me.
No,
That's
I'm
okay. We will continue that off air. You and I, we're gonna have a little intervention.
I can stop. I just don't want to.
I feel you, man. I feel you, but we need to look at the truth here. All right, give us number 11.
I'm going to continue my Eagles run here and take J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Yes, I think he's a guy who is going to struggle to get some production year one with Jeffrey, with Djax, with Nelson Aguilar, with with the Zach Ertz, with Dallas Goedert. Yes, I think he's going to struggle there. But I think you're buying him for 2020 because Djax is turning 32, Nelson Aguilar is unrestricted free agent, and Alshon Jeffrey's dead cap hit goes way down after this year. So I think this is a guy you can buy in a good offense who showed more on tape and on his pro day when he ran the 40 that he can be just more than a possession receiver. So I'm going to see those. I'm going to try and see the things I saw on tape, and hopefully he can be a possession receiver plus in the similar to an Alshon Jeffrey role where he can stretch the field, but he can also run the intermediate routes as well too. So I'm just banking on that, and I'm gonna say that this is a more of a 2020 pick than a 2019 pick.
Yeah, I'm mostly in agreement with you there. When I was putting together my rankings, I went right to pick 12 and I put JJ there because I think he's an excellent type of pick for you're the team that won the championship and you're kind of looking towards the future. The next guy in line. It's not how I would typically build my ranks, but in this year, the way this class has played out, he's a little bit like AJ Brown. AJ Brown is much more talented, so he's higher in my ranks. But JJ, I slotted him right at 12, and so I'm absolutely with you there. I love the player. I don't like the landing spot because I think there's a lot of guys on the team currently that do similar things, and so you're just going to be waiting on that for a little bit, hopefully not too long. J-Mike, let's wrap up this first round before we're going to go super fast lightning on this second round.
Wildly disappointed that Deebo Samuel didn't make it, and I just had the greatest look of disdain toward Matt when he took Arcega-Whiteside because I'm a fan of his as well. So with that said, now maybe obviously in the 112 spot, maybe you're a team that just won the title. Maybe you're a team that you're looking pretty good everywhere and you get the opportunity to flex a little bit if you'd like at this point. And again, this whole 1 QB thing has me thrown for a loop, but I don't want to take Fant here, even though he might lead Denver in targets. Yes, that's a shot at your boy Gabe. And I'm going to get crazy here. I'm going Kyler Murray. I don't know when you're supposed to take the quarterback in a 1 quarterback league, but if he's truly going to come in and be the difference maker that people are anticipating him being, and I know a good friend of ours, like you guys have mentioned before, Jake Anderson sees him as like a top 10 quarterback out the gate. And if we're talking about Cliff Kingsbury's offense, we're looking at the world being in front of him in terms of opportunity to be able to leverage his legs, leverage who knows how many attempts this season. Give me Kyler Murray here and with a little bit of a flex.
I like it. It's bold. I can't quite do it. I can't quite pull the trigger on a quarterback in the first round, but I get it. And if anyone listened to the one and only Dummy Roundtable episode that we've done so far, we had Ryan McDowell on, and he took Baker Mayfield in the first round, and that caught me off guard. But he had a great point behind it of if you look at the benefit that you're getting out of that player over the course of their career versus at this point in these drafts, kind of the flyers that you're taking on some of these receivers and some of the running backs, you have almost a guaranteed piece there. And so even though it's a 1 quarterback league, to take him here at the end of the first round, it's not a horrible strategy, so I like it. It's bold. I will give you some credit on that one, J-Mike.
Finally, I mean, good grief.
All right, we're going to go super fast lightning round here on the second round. Unfortunately, we have lost Robbie. He's dealing with some storms, so that would explain why we had a little bit of an audio connection problem with his audio earlier. I will do my best to jump in and pick an okay player for him and not completely blow his draft. So Gabe, and then Kevin, and then I'll step into Robbie's shoes here. Zach, Matt, and then back to you, J Mike. Let's kick it off. Gabe, who are you taking with 201?
I will not continue the slide of Fant. I am gonna double up on the tight ends. I know that he's not the best blocker, but last year there was a very successful running back in Denver, and one that was subpar but good enough. He had some sneaky good stats after contact, but was there a good like blocking tight end there that was just like elite, that had to be on the field, that would outshine everyone else? Like, I'm genuinely asking.
No, he's on the Patriots now. Lacoste or whatever. He was the Denver tight end that was kind of there. But no, I don't believe so. I think
Right.
I think you're going to see playing time. I think this is a good pick.
I think so too. I mean, the draft capital is there. You want to get him on the field. Though, unfortunately, the only way to get better at blocking is to get on the field and practice blocking. Like, you can do that all you want in practice, but it's just not going to quite translate to the game. So you can bust your settings all you want, J Mike. Okay. I heard the shade. You better wear sunscreen next time, homie, because it's coming right back. No, it's Fant, bro. I don't know how he slid this far. I agree with you, Kyle, that Fant usually comes right after the Hockenberger. So they should be back to back, and the rest of those wide receivers were nasty. So thank you.
I love the pick. He should have gone earlier. I actually have him as my number 1 tight end of the group. But Gabe, I gotta say, you are the absolute worst at lightning round, and I thought Zach was bad.
I appreciate that. That was nice.
Kevin, I need you to make up some time for us.
I really thought that Fant was going to be there, considering Gabe already had a tight end. Unfortunately, he's making me take another player that I don't really want. I'm going to go with Hollywood Brown on this one, I guess. Take another dart throw. I'm not a big fan of Lamar. I don't really know if he's going to be able to turn it around. But at this point, there's not really any other good wide receivers there, so it might as well be Brown, right?
This is that area where you're going to start making some of these decisions that feel just absolutely dirty, and I'm going to make one as well. I'm going to go ahead and take Mecole Hardman. Look, I'm not feeling very strong that Lightning's going to hit twice on this type of player for this team. But there's a chance, and at this point, I'm just shooting for the upside.
That's gross. I don't.
It is gross. Can you tell how much conviction I have behind this pick?
I don't hate. I mean, you basically took Hollywood Brown with a better landing spot.
That's
in terms
true.
of physical profile. I mean,
Oh, so you're telling me I had a bad pick? Is that what you're saying, Zach?
I would never say that.
I mean,
I had to.
You're trying to
scroll-
tell me I have a bad pick?
I had to scroll down a round and a half to cross him off my list, but no, it was fantastic. So it must be me here at 204, right? Is that
That is
where we're
you.
at? So I'm going to go back to running back with upside and take Darrell Henderson, and not wish ill on Todd Gurley, but if anything should happen, if there's more fear, there's more foundation to our fear than what we think right now, that's going to be a hell of a backup and a great pick in the second.
I love that we are gaining some steam here and moving along. Matt, take 205.
I'm going to take a shot in the dark here and take Akeem Butler. I'm going to just hope that he can produce in Kingsbury's system and just forget that he was a 4th round draft pick, because I kind of liked him on tape and I think there's some upside there. So take a shot in the dark in the middle of the 2nd round here on a guy who could pop. So
He was the guy I was debating between Mecole Hardman and Hakeem Butler. Like, I get it. This is the range where you're going to make a decision that on one of these guys that you don't want to make that decision on, which I think is really interesting when we contrast it to last year. I think this area of last year's rookie draft had some really interesting upside receivers that had some floor to them. Whereas this year we're looking at guys that have almost a bottomless floor, and they do have upside, but it's much scarier. J Mike, do you have another one of these scary picks for us?
Probably so. Maybe you and Kevin and Zach will all like this quite a bit. But there's a player that I decided last season around the same time that I would have in every single league. And if I don't take him now, I know that I would not probably get him when we run this gauntlet again. I'm going Damian Harris. He's very good at everything. I don't think he's bad at anything, actually. And I think that he's got an opportunity in New England to be a part of what we've seen to be a productive committee over the years. So I really like Damian Harris. Love that spot for him. And he's fantastic. So yes, I'm taking Damian Harris here.
You know what? You're kind of crushing me with that because in the real world, I'm hoping he drops further because I'm gonna have a hard time pulling the trigger on him at this point in a real world draft. But I want to end up with him. I want to have him stashed away on my taxi squads. Can we get him down into the third round?
No. If I'm in the league with you, no, there's no possible way.
I'm seeing this now. I am seeing that my hopes and dreams on that are not going to be answered. All right, Gabe, you got to give us one more pick, and I know we're running that well pretty dry on you. I mean, you could circle around and grab the third tight end. You could just stack up on all the tight ends.
Yeah, tight end heavy. A lot of booty in this draft. What was it, Kelvin? I wasn't listening. I tuned out like so long ago, like after N'Keal Harry. Was it Harmon or the other one?
Hardman
Butler
or Harmon?
Butler or Harmon? Butler or Harmon? Who was drafted?
Butler was drafted.
Butler has been drafted. Harmon is available.
I definitely don't want that. I just thought that maybe someone really took a swing. I am certainly dead at this point, so I may as well die on this hill. I'll say it again, J Mike. It's
Like that.
justice. It's justice.
Like that.
The city needs justice. Justice Hill. I still think he's like a Tevin Coleman type for me, and stealing a page out of Kevin's book as far as owning Tyler Lockett in every league, may as well have DK, and then one of them ends up being successful. I got KD to God in every single league. Yeah, Kenneth Dixon, in case y'all don't know acronyms and initials for things. Come on now. So one of those is going to hit. Go to sleep, Mark Ingram.
All right, Kevin. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can top that, but take a step up to the plate and take a swing and give us your final pick.
I don't know. I don't know.
This is what we're all going to do on the clock.
This is
We're
so
just
awful.
going to be sitting there going, I don't want any of these players. Will anybody trade for my pick? Please trade up and take my pick.
I'll take Irv Smith just because I might need a tight end, and at this point too, fourth pick, too late, second, might as well give him a shot.
I like it. I was so very disappointed when Minnesota took him and not our Patriots.
Very true.
I am going to stop the slide on one Kelvin Harmon since Gabe brought him up. Just like the slide should have been stopped in the real draft. I think there's talent there, and I'm going to believe in that talent. And I think the landing spot is actually really good. And beyond that, part of the reason I'm going to take him here is because I want to make sure he gets taken in the second round. I want to take him, and this is my last pick, so I'm gonna say his name and cry about it a little bit.
All right, I'm going to stay with my running back upside, and I'm going to go to Buffalo, and I'm going to take Devin Singletary and the most fun I had watching film, and hope that the two White Walkers who are in front of him meet their demise, and he takes some run in that backfield.
TJ Yeldon.
Yeah, no, I like Yeldon. I do. But
I want to league Singletary there, but yeah, it's just what I was talking about with Mike Davis earlier. and it wasn't even a good landing spot. But TJ Yeldon's one of those guys in my head that I see this as a semi-win, and I want to maintain that that potential upside. So I just can't let Singletary have any winning there at all. It can't happen in my head. Matt, give us your final pick here.
Oh, you know it's got to be Brucey here. Bruce Anderson, 211.
Woohoo! Early, I like it.
It's early. I'm guessing you just want to make sure you get him in here. That tends to happen with this final.
Yeah,
round of picks.
I think there's other players I'd like to have, but I just want to talk about Bruce Anderson for 30 seconds here. Seriously, go watch. If you go watch one Bruce Anderson game, go watch the 2018 FCS semifinal game against Sam Houston State. The guy is the best player on the field, scored 5 touchdowns, over 200 yards from scrimmage. The guy just looks insane. Ronald Jones, doo-doo. So I'm taking upside here on a UDFA and a great landing spot with a coach that I love. So taking Brucey here, 211, write it down.
So Matt, you're telling me he went to one Tampa Bay, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and this is a landing spot that we all look at as being absolutely wide open, and Rojo is but a minor speed bump.
And Peyton Barber too. Not worried about Peyton Barber.
My boy Peyton Barber is gonna hold him back a little bit. He's gonna hold that door a little bit. But yeah, Bruce Anderson is the perfect type of running back for that type of system. If there was a small school next, and I'm not making the comparison, but that next come out of nowhere almost type of guy like David Johnson, Bruce Anderson has some shades there.
I mean, Kyle, I had him as my pre-combine RB3 here, so he's not coming out of nowhere for me. So
I like the upside out of him. One of those guys that, and I know you wanted to make sure you got him into the show, you wanted to talk about him, but if you can get him in that 3rd round, oh, that's a nice stash away player.
I mean, he's not. I mean, Kevin can attest to this. He's not going to the 3rd round in any draft that me or Riley buy master, and it's not happening.
100% actually correct. I'm pretty sure Riley took him at 206 in a draft.
Yeah, and we were actually debating about trading up in front of each other to try and take that pick. I was actually trying to trade up ahead of him to take Brucey, so decided to trade off. So
I think this is an important time to mention to our listeners that the goal of the game is not to see who can draft a player first. It's to actually acquire some value, and I do think that Bruce Anderson becomes a tremendous value in the 3rd round. If you're playing the game of who can move up higher into the 2nd round to draft him first, you might be losing some of that value. Just a little PSA there.
If it makes you feel any better, Kyle, if it makes you feel any better, I drafted him at 405 in another league.
Oh, see, you just offset that and you gain some of that value back. All right, J Mike, wrap up this draft. Bring us home. Put the pin in it. Just give it to me.
With Gabe busting my Suttons a moment ago, with the Rojo slander from a moment ago as well from Matt. Funny how it's me that gets the last laugh here. Speaking of guys who will not be leaving the 2nd round. Yeah, Zach, you know what's up. No, I won't even do that. In my heart of hearts, if it's me drafting, I'm taking Benny Snell here. All of a sudden, you saw him going to 4th round. And what happens if James Conner's a turd burglar? And oh my gosh. Anyway, but the actual pick that I'll make here to save Kyle from really killing me after this is over, I'm going to go with Alexander Madison. We've watched Dalvin Cook struggle to stay healthy consistently for the last 2 seasons. And for whatever reason, if there's an opportunity to be had for a guy like Madison, who showed very well to be able to ball out in the passing game and the running game, obviously, we're looking at a dynamic guy who can really be explosive and dynamic in the Minnesota offense.
I like it, and I appreciate you not beating up on Connor, because I would have just had to edit that out, and there would just be this weird ending after the 11th pick, and nobody wants that.
The lost tapes.
The lost tapes, yes, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna do my best.
Later, Benny Snell shows up.
That's not right, Zach. That's not right.
Disrespect. Mm.
I'm going to do my best to do a quick recap here off of my chicken scratch notes that I was jotting down as we went. 101, we had N'Keal Harry, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Paris Campbell, Miles Sanders, AJ Brown, TJ Hawkinson, DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel, Andy Isabella, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, and Kyler Murray wrapping up the first round. And we went to Noah Fant, finally came off the board. Hollywood Brown, Mecole Hardman, Darrell Henderson, Hakeem Butler, Damian Harris, Justice Hill, Irv Smith, Kelvin Harmon, Devin Singletary, Brucey Anderson, and Alexander Madison wraps up our second round. That is it. We have done a 2-round crazy mock draft. I feel like we've been kind of everywhere in this conversation, but I had some fun with it.
Always when the friends come over, we play a little bit. It's always a good time.
Always a good time. Absolutely. J Mike, you did such an amazing job at the beginning, and people have been listening to me too much. I want you to talk some more. Can you take us out of here?
There's only one response to that. Snell, yeah. So, here we go. To my better half, my main man, the bungee of all bungees, Gabe Gearing. Where can we find you? What you working on? What's good?
The bungee of all bungees.
The Gearing of all time. Is that better?
All right. FF Man Bun on Twitter. The open bar is live Tuesdays with my main man, the true better half. We're there at 9:30 Eastern. We're there on time because Kyle's told us to. And join us live in the chat. It's a good time. That's pretty much all I got to share. You shared all the other nice things about me, so thank you, dummies. Thank you, everyone. J Mike, Kevin, Matt.
Gabe,
Rob.
I only give you a hard time about the timing because I have a bedtime, man.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
It's all about my bedtime. That's all I care about.
Your draft board, your bedtime.
True.
Marsha.
Yeah.
Sorry, moving on. I guess we were done with that. So, Mr. Kevin Cotillo, talk to us, and please forgive me, John Bosch and Riley Bymaster, for skipping out on that whole Dynasty Wall Street, which is one of my favorite actual podcasts. So, Kevin, what are you working on? What's good with you? Talk to us.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that. Yeah, Dynasty Wall Street with, as you mentioned, Riley Bymaster and John Bosch. Fantasy Football Funhouse, which is more of a, as the name says, fun house. It's just a laid-back show. Sal Lito and occasionally Stephen Marcus is on there as well. And you can find me on Twitter at Kevin Cotillo. No FF. I buck the FF friend.
Stay strong.
Fight the power. I like that. Mr. Foreman, Mr. Mormon, Mr. Nasty, if you're nasty. Talk to us.
I'm gonna get a little off script here. So I'm gonna talk about my wife here for a second. My wife is up for Charleston County Teacher of the Year here. So if you can give her a shout out at some point tomorrow, her Twitter handle is at Montessori Mel. I'm really proud of her, so I just want to give out to the fantasy football community to give her a big shout out because I know how hard she works. So you can find her at Montessori Mel.
I'm gonna write that down. I like that.
Yeah, we've got the front runner of Husband of the Year award going forward. Well done there, sir. Well done. And I guess I'll just get my quick out of the way here on Twitter at JMikeCheck, at JMICCheck. Again, one half of the open bar. We rock that dummy blitz. Almost that time of the year for that to get cranked back up as well consistently. And I'm just happy to be with you guys. It's always a good, clean fun when I get to be with my big brothers, the dummies. So to our dummies, the men, the myth, the legends, take us home.
Oh, J Mike, you do it so much better than I can. We gotta send that back to you and the dummy blitz. The best show on our feed That is one of my favorite listens, really. Just being able to get 15 minutes and out and all the bullet points that I need to know, and with your voice, you're just what is the descripting word here I want, Zach? You are the word guy.
The dulcet tones of
Thank you,
J. Mike Check.
I mean, it's just so smooth, and every week I come on here, and I want to sound like J. Mike. I want some of those dulcet tones.
You don't.
I don't.
You
I don't sound like him.
No, you don't.
Yes, but I want to, and I will continue to hold that dream. All right, let's get us out of here. Head to the website dynastydummies.com. Find us on Twitter at Dynasty Dummies. You can email us if you want. If you want to send us a longer question, dynastydummies@gmail.com. I am at Caleb Breck.
And I am at Tacit Assassin 13.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Dynasty Dummies.
Peace.
That's not bad. We only
Gentlemen,
went over by like 15 minutes.
That was fun. Yeah, but it's a mock draft episode, so that's
What I'm
fantastic.
saying. It's
People
really
will love
not
it.
that bad.
You got to give the
Actually
people
not.
what they want. We got Kevin on the stripper pole. We got, elbow deep in Jake Butt. I mean, you got to give the people what they want.
It's nothing inappropriate about that at all.
You know, you started talking about butt, and I saw an opportunity.
There's also, with all the butt talk, it's a lot of man love too, which makes me even more concerned. Just
Don't forget those tight ends.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'll be right back.
Kevin, before you go, I do want to give you a quick shout out, man. I am just a really, really, really big fan of yours. When you're on podcasts, when you're doing things, I find your thought processes to be very different than most, and they're thought provoking for me. And as someone who's kind of still forming strategies and trying to figure out my way to go about things and whatnot, man, I just find you as a very valuable resource, and I enjoy the fact that you do you, and you're not really worried about what everybody else has to say about it with whatever show you're on. Like I very much enjoy that about you. So, man, please keep doing that because I enjoy the heck out of it. Man.
thanks, man. I really appreciate that. If I had a voice like yours, I wouldn't have to have interesting things to say.
That's funny.
No, I really do appreciate that, man. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad that I listen to everything you do too, and all you guys here. It's I pull from everywhere, and I think that's why my view is so contorted, because it's literally just a smattering of everyone else.
But that's the shit. Like, that's it, J. Mike. Though the guys we bring on, we're geeking out, man. Like we love listening to you. We love listening to Kevin, Gabe, Matt. Like everybody that we bring on. That's our thing, man. That's why we're doing it. That's why we're bringing these guys on, because
it's not like any of us
love it.
It's all each other. We're all just
It really is. One quarterback league offered Freeman for Deshaun Watson. Yeah, trade Deshaun Watson for Freeman. You got Mahomes. Sorry, I'm processing.
That's an actual question. Has Mahomes
got offered
Watson?
Devonta Freeman for Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, that's probably the easiest button you've ever clicked.
Yeah, definitely take that.
Can $5 to anyone who, without Googling, can tell me Deebo Samuel's actual first name?
Oh my goodness,
Brett.
I don't know, because I had
yes. I'm sure it's not Brett.
I don't.
Tyshawn.
I can't remember. Nice.
Why
T-Y.
Why Debo?
Because he's a bully.
T-Y-S-H-U-N. Tyshawn.
Okay.
He was a bully. Debo from Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bully.
All
He'll
right.
take your
No,
bike.
fool, that's my bike.
Yeah.
Who's a bully? Me?
Yes, but we weren't talking about you, Debo.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't have the same ring. Debo Lebrecht.
No,
It's better than Kyla, though.
I kind of like Kyla. I really do. I can't lie.
Definitely put a ring on Kyla. That's tough. I like that.
Hey, Matt, you should tweet out something to your wife and tag all of us in it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
I'll do
definitely.
Yeah, I'll
Get
do
that
that.
retweet
That's awesome. Is
train
there a place to vote
going.
for or something too, or
What's up?
is there a place to vote for or something too?
No,
Or
unfortunately, there's not a place to vote for. It's a 10-person panel, but luckily, one of the 10 people who are in the panel, her son is in her classroom. So
nice.
Melissa Reese, is that her?
yeah, that's her. Yeah, that's my wife. She
Alright,
did not.
found her.
She's an independent woman. Did not change her last name.
Did you offer the panel fantasy football advice in exchange for their vote?
I did, but they asked who the hell I was, and they.
We could have brought him on. They could have had Robbie's spot in the mock.
But the great thing is when she wins tomorrow is we get a free BMW for a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
BMW for a year?
Yeah. We get a free lease for a year.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, we get to pick a 3 series, a 3 series, a 5 series, a X1, X3, or X5 for a year.
Nice. That's pretty solid.
What
perk.
award is she up for?
She's up for Charleston County Teacher of the Year. Charleston County is the most populous county in all of South Carolina, even though South Carolina is rated 50th in states for education. We are not native South Carolinians. We are native Pennsylvanians. So
Is there a hashtag or anything that we can like?
yeah, they were doing hold on, I'll look it up. I'm looking up the CCSD